So what things can you do to increase your chances of achieving your big goals? Creating smarter goals, as we talked about last week, is a really important step, but it doesn't end there. It's important to break the goal down into smaller, achievable steps. Hi, I'm Marianne from One Life to Flourish, and welcome to tonight's episode of Monday Motivation. Thanks for joining me for the final episode to get you ready for the new year. So this week I'm wrapping it all up and helping you to create small steps and habits towards your goals. So first of all, if you know someone who would really benefit from this information, who'd love to create some goals and find it very relevant to them, please make sure they get to see it. Also, if you're watching from my page, then say hi, and otherwise hashtag replay if you're watching from the replay. All right, so let's do a little bit of a recap. So far we have looked at dreaming big and creating your amazing vision for the next 5 years. Where did you want your future to go? And then we looked at what big actions needed to happen during 2021 to make sure that you could actually achieve that. Then we actually started to create some smarter goals to help us achieve that vision for 2021. Now, SMARTER, to remind you, stands for meaningful, achievable, relevant, timed, evaluated, and readjusted goals. All right, so basically that's a way to make our goals more tangible so that we can actually achieve them. Now we're up to the very final step, which is actually making up some tiny goals and working towards building some habits. So that's the final part of the process to bring it all together. Now, if you haven't seen the other episodes, then they are available on One Life to Flourish. And I've also put some links to the worksheets, which will hopefully work. All right, so let's start off by looking at the idea of tiny goals first of all. Now, tiny goals are only good if you're actually linking them to a bigger goal, which is sometimes called your hairy, audacious goal. So it's good to link them, but a hairy, audacious goal can sometimes just seem a little bit out of reach. So the tiny goal is about getting practical and thinking about small steps that are easy, so it's not very stressful to do, that they're actually going to move you, though, towards your big goal. So I'm going to give you the example that I used last week to just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So my smarter goal last week was to save $2,500 in 12 months so I can holiday in Darwin, which I will achieve by focusing on adding 4 appointments a month to my business by improving my marketing and client processes. All right, so I really want to achieve that. Seems like an amazing goal to me, but at the moment it just seems a little bit out of reach. What am I going to do each day or each week to actually get me there? So this is where the tiny goals actually come into it. So think about it. What could they be by asking yourself, what do I need to do this week? What do I need to do today that will actually help me to achieve that goal? And there are quite a few small steps that I could take each week that would actually lead me towards that goal and seem quite easy at the time. So to give you a couple of examples, I could aim to post every day with information that relates to the work that I do. I could also assign a specific time each week to follow up with people who have previously shown some interest in my work or have worked with me in the past and see if they're interested in working with me into the future. All right, so it's probably a good idea to have 1 or 2 daily tiny goals and 1 or 2 weekly tiny goals around each of your smarter goals. All right, now they should be easy to actually do, but they should have a little bit of a challenge to them. So you're stepping out of your comfort zone a bit, but not too much. All right, let's talk about habits. Now, habits is something I have talked about quite a lot last year because it is something that I find is a great thing to do. So habits are those automatic actions that happen in specific situations or at specific times. And because they're automatic, they require no real effort on our part, no energy on our part to actually do them. And these things can be gold if we actually craft them around creating these positive habits towards big goals. So to build a successful habit, there are a few things that you need to do. I'm not going to go into it in too much depth, but basically you want to have a trigger that will have the habit established with it. All right. So the best trigger that you can have is actually an existing habit that's in place. All right. So let me give you a little bit of an example of something that I created to try and have just a healthier lifestyle. So I wanted to bring daily meditation into my life and make that into a habit. Now, this time I'd already created a habit of exercising immediately after arriving home from work. So I decided to link this new goal of meditation to that habit. So it made more sense to me to meditate before I exercised. So part of the habit was me sitting down, ready to put my shoes on, ready to exercise. So I used that sitting down as my trigger. I made sure I had my phone with the app on it, ready to go. So I'd sit down, open up the app, do my meditation. When I had finished, I would then put on my exercise shoes and do my exercise. Now, because of the way that I linked those two things together, it actually only took probably less than 2 weeks before meditation actually became a habit for me. And that was because it became part of what we call a habit chain. All right, so that's where we stack habits together, which make them a little bit more sticky. All right, so have a trigger or a cue, which is your old habit, and then have the new action. And then the third part of it is just the repetition. So over time, create your habits. All right, and then it's really important to make sure that the habit relates to the big goal. All right, so once again, it does take a little bit of time and a little bit of thinking to put this into place, but it is absolutely worth the effort if you want to be able to achieve your big goals. So if you've got something you really want to achieve, it's worth putting in a little bit of time and effort at the back end. All right, so far each time I have talked a little bit about the role of the unconscious mind in this whole process. So remember, the unconscious mind needs to be on board for you to really be able to achieve what you want to achieve. It is really important to work with that. And the unconscious mind has all sorts of things that it uses that it thinks are going to help you that can bypass what you're actually wanting to achieve. So this is one thing that I work with people on, is actually bringing the two parts, the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, together so they work properly together. And this is what the limitless thinking program is all about. So clearing out some of that thinking in the unconscious mind and replacing it with more positive ways of thinking so that you can actually achieve this big vision that you've got for 5 years in the future, but also for 2021. So if you'd like some details, just comment with a yes, and then I'll get back to you with details. Now, I'm going to be back again next Monday with Monday Motivation at the same time, but I'm going to be changing my focus because I've now finished talking about getting set up for the year, and I'm going to be talking about a topic that I am very passionate about, which is helping people to build positive, healthy habits that are going to help them to live a long and healthy life. So that's going to be my general theme for at least the next little part of this year on Monday Motivation. Now, I'm also starting a new series on My Time TV Live, which is called Menopause is Not a Dirty Word, which is aimed specifically at women in midlife. So if that's you, or you know someone who's there, then please join me. It will be on Fridays, so keep an eye out for that. Have a really great week. Good luck actually putting your little tiny goals in and building those habit chains, and you'll be surprised at the impact that it can have on your life. So good night from me, and I'll see you next Monday or possibly on Friday if you want to catch my new broadcast on My Time TV Live. So bye.